on this edition of Turnin Texan. We're here at the LBJ Library to focus on the beloved Lady Bird Johnson. I'm here with Laura and Sheila, and they're going to tell us all about Lady Bird. But first, how are you both doing this morning?
Great. Absolutely wonderful.
I'm excited to be here. There's a lot of history. Who wants to go first? Who wants to tell me the first fact about Lady Bird?
A lot of people know Mrs. Johnson for her work in the environment and teaching us to plant native plants, to enjoy the wildflowers.
There am I, in my very native habitat.
But there's so much more to her than that. And so we wanted to tell you a little bit about more facts about Mrs. Johnson.
Yeah, because I don't know anything about her.
Yes, Claudia Alta Taylor was actually born in Karnak, Texas, and she grew up as a Texas lady, went to school here at the University of Texas, and she had degrees in both history and journalism. She had these desires after graduation to either go to New York City and become a journalist or to go to far and exotic places like Alaska and Hawaii to be a teacher.
That is a stretch. That's a little far for me, but that is honestly incredible, and that's kind of why she had her love for KTBC, correct?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Unfortunately, Mrs. Johnson had to put these passions on hold because right after graduation, she met Lyndon Johnson, a congressional aide. They were both visiting colleagues at an office building here in Austin, and Lyndon Johnson asked Mrs. Johnson out on a date. They went to the Driscoll Hotel the next day and had coffee and then drove around the Texas Hill Country. At the end of the date, LBJ asked Mrs. Johnson to marry him. On the first date. And she said no. But what followed was a whirlwind romance where the two of them wrote letters to each other and sent each other photos and gifts.
Amazing. I would love to be, no, don't propose to me on the first date. I just think that's kind of incredible. So that's kind of how their love story started, correct?
Correct. And one of the things that President Johnson sent Mrs. Johnson was a book called Nazism, An Assault on Civilization. And in it, he inscribed, "To Bird, in the hopes within these pages she may realize some little entertainment and find reiterated here some of the principles in which she believes and which she has been taught to revere and respect, LBJ." Mrs. Johnson responded in a letter to him, "I shall be thrilled to get the book on Nazism. It's such a controversial subject and I know nothing about it."
That's a fair response, and I'm sure she learned all about it when she opened those pages.
And though she said no to marrying him on their first date, it was quite a whirlwind courtship. They were together for 3 months when they finally got married on November 17th of 1934. We don't have any pictures of their wedding because it was actually quite quick. In fact, they didn't even have a ring. Their friend Dan Quill had to run to the nearest Sears Roebuck and buy a wedding ring for Lady Bird, and it was cost $2.50. So we're talking good stuff here. And they got married and then honeymooned in Mexico, which we do have a few pictures of.
And I think we saw that picture on the way in. They were on the boat. Looked like they were having a great time. That's incredible. And what else can we know about Lady Bird?
Well, a lot of people don't realize that Mrs. Johnson was an accomplished businesswoman. She ran LBJ's congressional office while he was serving in World War II. Not too long after that, with an inheritance from her father, she bought a local radio station, KTBC. And then the Johnsons expanded and bought a TV station, KTBC, which is now, of course,
Fox 7 Austin.
And the Johnsons actually had an apartment at the top, of the building over the radio station. When President Kennedy was killed, Lyndon Johnson was going to school here at the University of Texas. The Secret Service took her out of King Solver dorm and moved her that night to stay in the apartments over the building. And it's said that there was a Secret Service agent sitting in a chair by her bed throughout the night to keep her safe.
And that we still have that apartment at KTBC, which is really exciting. We get to do our headshots there. Yes, so I've been in his apartment. Yeah, it's really neat. But anything else that we should know about her?
Well, one of the things that we love to talk about here is not just Lady Bird as this, conservationist and friend of education and really America as a whole, but she was remarkably educated woman, a businesswoman, a political activist for her husband, and an activist in her own right. And we were just scratching the surface of all that Lady Bird is and was. And so we would invite your viewers to come out and check out the Lady Bird exhibit in the LBJ Presidential Library. We have so much more to offer and so many great stories to share.
There is so much more to offer. Like you said, just even looking behind me, a lot of her lovely dresses and outfits, which are gorgeous, I would love to wear. But thank you both so much for telling me just a little bit about Lady Bird Johnson. And the woman is so beloved here in Austin. She has a whole lake named after her. That's only a dream I hope to have one day. But thank you both so much for having us. And if you guys want to come check out the LBJ Library and see her exhibit, definitely come here and do that here on UT's campus.